Welcome to Biz Wire. We lead off today with news that by 2020, China will need to import 100 million tons of grain each year. So speakers at the recent Asian Financial Forum said China must invest overseas to ensure its food security. Fan Shengeng, the Director General of the International Food Policy Research Institute, said China and India will have to open to global markets like Australia, Africa, and Latin America and invest in these countries' agricultural production. Frank Ning, the chairman of COFCO, China's largest food conglomerate, said last year China imported 3 million tons of rice, 3 million tons of wheat, and 60 million tons of soybeans, which accounted for 60% of the world's trade in soybeans. Tim Hornibrook, a co-head of Macquarie Agriculture Funds Management, said half the growth in global food imports came from Asia, but only 25% of world food exports were from Asia. China is said to have had a $27 billion annual food deficit. Ishmael Rogue, the Asia-Pacific president of Archer Daniels Midland, said that China overtook the United States as the largest animal feed consumer in the world about 18 months ago. Roig said China is facing exploding protein demand, which has put enormous pressure on corn and soybeans. Roig added that by 2050, global demand for grain and oil seed would rise 60% to 4.5 billion tons. According to media reports in China, COFCO plans to spend more than $10 billion on overseas mergers and acquisitions in the next 5 years. In May 2011, Australian Trade and Competitiveness Minister Craig Emerson launched a joint study with the Chinese government on encouraging Chinese investments in agriculture in Australia. David Farley, the chief executive of Australian Agriculture, a beef and agricultural producer, said Australia exported 60% of the food it produced, and its food output could feed 60 million people. But if its agricultural technology was exported to places such as Africa, 500 million people could be fed.